Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everybody. Lisa, Nickel, and Julie Hogston here again with another couch conversation. Although I'm
Yes,
not sitting on my couch today, but that's
I
okay.
am. I'm sitting on my couch. You just can't
Julie's
tell.
on her couch. I'm not on my couch at my kitchen table. The light's a little bit better. Um, so today we wanted to do something a little bit different and talk more to you, either newer agents out there or agents maybe that are struggling a little bit and looking for some ideas. I don't know why it looks like I'm kind of looking sideways. I'm still getting used to having this background on like this. Do I look okay?
You
I
look
feel like I'm
good.
looking, not at the camera for some
No,
reason.
you
I don't
look
know.
good. You're fine.
Okay. All right. So we're gearing towards some newer agents or agents that are struggling with some things and just wanted to give some tips and suggestions of things that we have learned in the course of our businesses.
That's right. Yes.
So you're newly licensed and you just studied your butt off to pass that stupid test, and probably 90% of that stuff you can forget now, but now is where you really start to learn the business, right? I mean, isn't that true?
It's true. Yep. I mean, you're going to have to know the how many miles to a square foot. Don't forget that. You'll know that. You need that.
Yeah, for sure.
43,560. You will never forget.
People ask me that all the time.
Yep.
Not. So we wanted to kind of get into a little bit of nuts and bolts about what you really need to know. So
Yes.
the first subject that we wanted to touch on was your paperwork. One of these days you're going to sell a house and you're going to have to sit down with a buyer or seller to fill out paperwork, right?
Yep.
It's really kind of important that you know what that paperwork says. So when I start working with someone, I tell them, print out that paperwork, read it twice a day, read it in the morning, read it at night, learn it, know what you're saying, know how you're going to present it. So you are not sitting down with a client for the first time going over this paperwork, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, always, every contract is different. Every
Mhm.
company is different.
Yeah.
So, it's really important to read your own paperwork so you know
Mhm.
what it says, so you can say that to somebody else, especially in today's day where we're doing so much with electronic signatures.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of clients, they go through and they just
They are
where's
not
the
reading that
signature?
paperwork.
They're
You're
not
right.
reading it.
So
So
it's
you better
important
know
that
it and tell them
you,
ahead.
yes. Yeah, that's one of my pet peeves is an agent that will send paperwork over to a buyer or seller and not even go through it with them. Just say, I just sent you the paperwork to sign, and you'd be surprised how many times that happens.
Yep.
You can't do that. I mean, it's your responsibility to make sure that they know what they're signing. So
Right.
very
And another
important.
thing, we touched on this in one of our first episode, but just make sure that your paperwork is complete, that the lines are filled out, that you have the other agent's information in there, that you have the seller information. If you're representing the buyer, put the seller's name on it. Don't leave it to the other agent to do that.
Yes.
And if you
Right.
don't know it or you can't find it, message the agent and say, how would you like this to show on the paperwork for their names?
A
It's
hundred
good to reach
percent.
out anyway.
Yep.
So
100% agree. And you know what? That could make a difference on whether your client's offer gets accepted too. The
it
cleaner
sure,
that offer is, the more that
yeah.
other agent's going to like it.
And
And the
not for nothing, but I have had agents, I can think of 3 occasions where I've had other agents say to me, thank you for sending a nice, clean offer with everything on it. So
absolutely.
it
Me
does
too.
make a difference.
Makes a huge difference. And it's being professional.
Yeah.
So that's our 2 cents on paperwork. And then the next thing we had on our list was, okay, everybody wants to know, okay, I have my real estate license now. How do I find buyers and sellers? What do I do?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one of the first things you want to start doing. So when I start working with someone, the first thing I will tell them as a newer agent is to get a list of contacts together. Get a list together of everybody that knows, likes, and trusts you. Start
Mhm.
your database, get it together, do it on a legal pad, do it on whatever, just get it together, have that list, because those contacts are going to be where your easiest business comes from.
For sure.
Mhm.
And you don't have to have any fancy software, even if you have, like, if you're using Gmail or the Google Suite has a sheet like Excel, and a lot of people are using that anyways instead of the Microsoft
Yeah.
programs.
Yep.
But I still have my Excel spreadsheet with my names and I mean, everything's in there and I pop people in as I go along because it makes it easy if I want to do labels or something like that. Now,
Yeah.
we have other programs and so do other brokerages. I mean, there's a lot of options for that. But the point is get it together, get it
To
ready,
start. Hmm.
and then you can mail and add a column for their email address too, so that you can send emails. You just want to make sure that you stay in front of people. And if, I mean, most people nowadays have Facebook or LinkedIn, or, I mean, there's so many different sources that you have contacts in. You can even do a message, an instant message in Facebook or LinkedIn and say, hey, I just trying to get word out that I'm doing this,
Yeah,
for my business now.
absolutely. Or
Yeah.
you contact them in different ways. One, when you first start, you send out a letter and then you do the Facebook messages or something else the next month. But the point is get that list together because that's where your warm calls are going to come in and you can really start to get comfortable on the phone, start talking to people. And as much as you think that everybody in your world that knows you will remember that you're a realtor, they won't.
They won't. They don't. And so you got to stay in front of people. We'll do another show on I know that when you're a new agent, it's hard sometimes because it's people don't necessarily always trust you.
Yes,
With buying is a little easier, I feel like.
I
Listings,
think so too. I think so
yeah,
too.
listings you need a little bit more experience with. And but you're, whomever, whatever brokerage you go to, the people that are there should be helping you with that. I mean, like for
Yes.
me, I'm going with people on their listing appointments or even going out with their buyers sometimes, just so that they can hear what we say and, gain experience that way. But also gives the other client a feeling like, okay, I'm going to be taken care of because someone's looking over this.
Yeah,
Everybody has to start somewhere.
absolutely. And I think that's what Julie said even earlier. It doesn't have to be fancy. You
Mm-mm.
just have to have something in place and you have to start.
Yep. Biggest
What about
thing,
other lead
start.
sources, Jules? I know you were talking about maybe some other lead sources that we wanted to pass along. So
So,
what are
with EXP, I don't, I'm an icon agent. And so with icon agents, you have to, Lisa's done a lot more with training like new agents that come on board. I did more with the business end and icon. So we have to teach classes is one of the things we have to do. So anyway, I taught a no cost lead class was, and I guess the simplest, easiest thing I'm just going to say right off the rip is if you're a new agent, even if you're looking for more lead sources, start talking to lenders. And the first one is whoever you bank with. Go to the bank and say, do you have a mortgage lender I can speak with? I'm a real estate agent and I'd like to know what programs are available. It's one place where they want to talk to you because they know that they're going to have a possible referral source to them. They want
right?
to talk to you.
Yes.
So it's a really good place to go. A lot of places will, but know your, if I can say anything, get to know loan programs. Um,
Yeah.
Having done loans before, that helped me. Lisa's been doing this so long. She knows things like that backwards and forwards too. And I'm
But it's
sure, like
always
you said,
changing too. It's always changing.
and it's always changing. And so you got to
Yeah.
have good contacts that tell you, hey, this changed or that changed.
Right.
Fannie Mae's the minimum loan amount went way up this year. I can't remember what it is offhand, but it went up like, I don't know, like 70 grand or something.
Yeah. I can't
And
remember.
more. Yeah, and that's in this area. So it's different in different areas of the country, obviously, because pricing's different. But anyway,
Mhm.
so know your loan programs, get to know loan officers. Title companies is another resource that's invaluable. If
Mhm.
you start talking to different title companies and see what they have to offer, because
Yes.
they may give you leads like for sale by owner leads. They can
Mhm.
do farm lists where you say, okay, I want, a half a mile out from this address. Can you get me the addresses? And they will do that for free.
Yeah.
So there are things that they can do that, and you really got to ask because, and they also, at title companies, a lot of them belong to different boards, just like we do, but they may have some different events that they invite you to, and you get to meet different people and learn things that way. CE classes, when you're new, take as much CE as you can. That was invaluable for me when I started.
Well, you get to know other agents too, and maybe you develop referral sources that way too. So you meet an agent that's on the east side. You don't want to be, you don't want to take buyers all the way on the east side. So you have someone to refer to, and the hope is then that they will refer back to you.
That's right. Yeah. Connection is the key. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, meeting other good agents, like-minded agents, who are trying to work together and make a deal come together is key too. So just, getting to know your industry and the people in it is important.
It is. It is. Any other good, easy lead sources that you can think of off the top of your head?
So, one of the things that we talk about, and this is pretty easy too, but think about the people that that might, like have gotten it's not great, but divorces, estates, probate, those, we talk about in my class, like funeral homes will refer to estate attorneys and probate attorneys. So maybe somebody like that. And I'm just saying, think outside the box a little bit, and who that might know someone that could refer you, because referrals are going to be key for you. Yes. And we also talked about, like, when you start getting to know lenders, maybe they'll do classes like first time home buyer classes. And when I say think big, like, if you have a Walmart or a Target in your area, maybe you go and talk to that manager and say, hey, we'd like to put a class on for your employees. Do you think this is something they might be interested in? It can be smaller little businesses that you go and talk to, but anything that's around you, go and talk to the managers and say, is there any chance I could leave some information, or maybe just talk for 20 minutes?
Yeah, that's great.
Or like have somebody come in, like Airbnbs are big right now, and Verbos. And so maybe it's that you find somebody that is experienced in those types of things, and you hold a seminar like at a library or something local that's free, that has space that will let you come in if you have a speaker.
Awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking, as you were talking, senior living communities too. There are so many senior living communities popping up. Go get to know those rental people in those senior living communities.
That's right.
So lots of ideas, and it really is a lot about just thinking outside the box and finding opportunities.
Yep, exactly. Yep, absolutely. And
we could do a whole series of conversations just about lead generation for sure.
Yeah. So what else for new agents? Do we have anything else?
I think we wanted to talk a little bit about social media, because social media is so big, especially with younger generation.
Yeah.
So it's important to get involved with social media. And I know even for me, it can be overwhelming sometimes. So I would advise pick the one that you like the best to start with, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Pick something that calls you, and really get good at that one thing first before you start expanding, and start getting out there and be consistent with it.
Totally agree. Yeah. And there's some programs like Loomly and Hootsuite. There's a multitude of them, but they'll help you put things together. And like with Facebook, you can schedule ahead. Like if you have a business page, which I recommend everybody has at least a business page, but you can schedule your posts ahead of time. So it's not like you're trying to sit every day and remember to do it. So you schedule for a week in advance. Right. Lisa is, and so am I, are really relational based agents. So we post a lot on our personal page. Yes. That's fine. That's how we are. And that's,
yeah, there's no specific right way to do it, but the point is, again, to do it and to be consistent, and whatever you decide to use, be consistent with it, and try to give knowledge, try to give some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Value, try to add value. Yeah,
add value. That's one of the other things that I would say too, as a new agent, if you're looking to maybe gain some business, usually new agents do more with buyers than sellers. So you might want to ask an agent who has a listing, can I do an open house at your listing? And think
Yes.
outside the box even now, like, if listing goes up on a Friday, do a showing, like an open house on a Friday night. I've
Yeah.
had huge success with that. And that hopefully will get you some buyers, but you have to provide value. So
Mhm.
for me, this is just me, knowing loans like I did, that was my value add.
Your value.
Like,
Yeah.
when I would talk to somebody in an open house, I would say, hey, did you know so-and-so has $7,500 towards, your down payment and closing costs right now? I don't know if you already got, loan approval somewhere, but this is an awesome program. It's starting those conversations. And again, we can do a class like this.
Yeah, for sure. We're just trying to touch base on a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. So, but social
So
media is, yeah, it's a wonderful, and if you're not on it, you got to get on it. I'll
yeah.
tell you what gets a lot of likes. If you have either kids pictures or
Or
pet pictures.
pets.
Everybody loves pets.
You're right. It's so funny. People like to
Yeah.
see your pets. I was telling Tim that I'm going to start making pumpkin videos, although Pumpkin doesn't do anything. So where is Pumpkin sleeping today? That's what my videos would be.
Yep, it's true.
So
We have a resident
explain your,
woodchuck in our backyard. So
you do.
sometimes I get him. He's really cute.
That's so funny. Cute.
Yep. So
So next on our list was just pick up the phone. So everybody wants to know what's that next shiny object out there. What should I be doing to find leads? What should I be doing to be able to get in contact with customers? How can I spend my money? Because trust me,
yeah.
people are going to be hounding you with ways to spend your money, to
Yeah.
buy leads and to, do this next best thing. The one piece of advice I could give you that will help you more than anything else is you have to pick up the phone every day. You have to do it. You have to time block some time every day to get on the phone and make your phone calls. There's no way around it. You just have to do it.
No, you have to, you do. And time blocking is the best thing to do. And so, because in this business, you can feel like you don't have any time to yourself
Yeah, for sure.
if you let it run you. And in the beginning, it kind of runs you.
It does.
It kind of does.
Because you're afraid to say no to anything. And, you
Yeah.
want to make sure you get every opportunity you possibly can. But
Right.
it's okay to have boundaries too.
It is. Yeah. And just to say, hey, especially if you have a young family, I can't imagine doing this when, I mean, you did it when Chelsea was young,
I did.
but my
But it was a
boys were,
blessing to me because I was able to be where she needed me to be. And it was a good
Yeah.
thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I didn't start until my boys were like 16, 17, so it was, I didn't have to worry so much about that. It was more
Yeah.
like, what's for dinner? I might be late. I might come at 8:00, but I'll have dinner.
Right.
So,
But pick up the phone, just do it. Whether you decide you're going to make 5 phone calls a day, 20 phone calls a day, whatever that number is that you decide, do it consistently. The other thing that will help you with is to avoid the ups and downs that we can see in this business where, oh, I've got 4 deals closing this month, but I have no idea how I'm paying my bill next month or the month after that. That
yeah,
happens in this business. And it's easy to fall into it because you get tied up with your transactions and all of a sudden you're not doing your prospecting and you look forward and it's stressful. That's what makes it stressful.
it does. It happens to me every December. I slack off because I want to enjoy, and that's okay, but you better have some money in the bank. Because come January, February, you're like, oh man.
Yes, for sure. So the consistency of the phone calls and just getting through it, and it does get easier the more you do it, the more
Absolutely.
you'll be able to continue to do it. So
Absolutely.
we talked a little bit about time blocking. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. Nope. Time blocking. Yep.
So in that regard, we're talking about scheduling, right? And scheduling your time, which can be overwhelming. Like Julie said as well, you can kind of feel like you're working all the time and half the time you don't even know what you did that day. Having a good calendar can help with that. If you have a calendar, whether you use a paper calendar or whether you use Google, if you can look at that calendar before you go to bed at night, make adjustments, wake up in the morning, look at what your schedule is, it really helps to keep you on task. So having a good calendar and putting everything in there, even your free time. That's the first thing I do when I go to do my calendar for the month. I'll go block off the days that I'm not working, or if I have personal appointments, whatever it is, take care of that stuff first. And then decide what your tasks are going to be on a daily basis and get those in your calendar and live by that calendar. It can help.
Lisa's better at that than I am, I will say.
It's a work in progress though. I always have been kind of a wing it girl. I'm going to wing it. But putting my calendar in place and getting myself more organized has helped me tremendously. And it just takes a lot of the stress off.
Yeah, it does. And just like we said, setting boundaries. So that's important.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So what else do we want to talk about? So I have on my list, surrounding yourself with people who are where you want to be.
Yeah. So this is one thing I think, one thing I learned, I don't know where I picked this up, but somewhere along the way, it was suggested that you always have someone that you're pulling up to better themselves and someone that you are trying to achieve more of what they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's really important. And I think it's a good rule of thumb. Because it helps, you feel good by helping somebody else.
Sure.
And then you get to see what's inside of you that makes you tick and can get to the next level too, that somebody else is at. And we're always learning and always changing. So I think that's a good philosophy.
I agree. We are who we surround ourselves with. And it's so important to be in the room with people who have what you want, because not only do you learn from them, but it's just the energy.
Yeah. And we're not talking like things. It doesn't mean that it's wealth in the way of money all the time.
Right.
It's wherever you see light, whatever makes you feel good, that you see, gosh, I really would like to do that, or I would like to be like that, or, and it's kind of, we've talked about this before. You don't know what you don't know. So sometimes when you get to different levels or you meet different people, there's something that is available to you that you didn't even know you could have, or that was there for you.
Yeah.
And it can be a mental thing even too, like getting to this next level mentally, like maybe eases things up for you.
Yeah, so. For sure. Absolutely. And we've done that for each other in a lot of ways. I mean, we'll talk things out together all the time because we have different perspectives, and that helps so much because you see things sometimes in a way I never thought of. And I know I do the same thing too. So
yep, exactly.
Good to have those relationships in your life.
Yep, it really is. Yep. So find your people, find your tribe.
Find your people, right. And the last thing we have on our list for today is, for God's sake, when you get a client, provide personal service and go above and beyond. Take care of the people that you're trying to serve. Remember always that it's about them. It's not about you. And
biggest thing.
Once you give them that service level that meets or exceeds their expectations, then that's when you're going to start to see those referrals come in.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Especially when you make it so that, there's two people that I can think of too, and through my career, that have said, I could do this by myself, like a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
But then they ask for advice.
Oh yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah. And I think, you can do it on your own, and you might have just left some money on the table too. And here's why. So make it known why you're valuable, and then stick to it and go above and beyond that.
Absolutely.
Lisa and I can, it's funny. My husband, being the real estate agent too, sometimes I'll be like, man, I got to go clean at this house. And he's like, why are you cleaning? And I'm like, because that's what we do.
Yes,
You
we've
know?
talked about this before too. We wear so many different hats, and sometimes in a snowstorm, somebody can't shovel their driveway because they're 80. And guess what? You go and figure out how to get that done for them.
That's right. And like, I've had people where I've painted at their houses and stuff, and it's fun. It's fun. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't, I, you know, I mean, generally speaking, we work with people that we like and we want to see
Yes.
the best for them. So just if you always come at it from a perspective, I feel like that's in life in general, from a giving perspective, you
Agreed.
always get it back.
Absolutely. Those
Yep.
are the things people notice, and those are the things people remember.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, what do you think, my friend?
I think we're good. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. And again, on each of these subjects, we can probably do a whole presentation, but
Yeah.
just wanted to give some tips and tricks, and
Yep.
certainly reach out to us if you have any questions about anything we talked about today.
Absolutely. All right, guys, have a good one. Lise, have a good day.
You too. I'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.